In this video, I am going to explain about the program to demonstrate multiple predefined exceptions. Another name for this particular program is try with multiple except blocks. In Python, whatever the code that might raise an exception is written in try block. So whenever an exception is raised in try block, the relevant except block is called and the details of the exception will be displayed. For this purpose, we have several predefined exception classes. We have demonstrated some of them in the program which you are seeing on the screen. So first of all, we'll see what are the different except blocks we have written. Here we have written 4 different except blocks. In the first except block, we are checking or we are calling the exception classes called as type error and value error. Generally, these exception classes will be called whenever there is a mismatch of a values. That is, if you are trying to add an integer and a string, that kind of expression or that kind of operation raises this particular exception. And in the second except block, we are writing that block to catch the arithmetic error that might rise. For suppose we are writing some code called as division by 0. If we are trying to divide any number with 0, which is not a valid rule in mathematics, in such cases this kind of exception is raised. Then the third except block has index error exception class, which means whenever we try to access an index position of an array out of the range, like for suppose in the above program as you are seeing, we have initialized an array with values 1, 2, 3, 4 in the form of a list. ARR is a variable. So as we know, the index position in array starts from 0. In such case, the index position of 1 will be 0, index position of 2 will be 1, index position of 3 will be 2, and index position of 4 will be 3. We should be able to access from index positions ranging from 0 to 3 only as per the code we have written. But in the next print statement, as you can see, we are trying to access an index value called as 5. That is a value at the index position 5. We haven't even initialized the index position 5. So whenever we try to perform such kind of execution, index error exception is raised. And at last, we have written a general case of catching exceptions, that is exception class itself. So apart from the above 3 cases, whatever we have written in the try block, if any other exception is raised, then this particular exception block will be called. Now, let us see the try block. What is that code we have written in the try block? In the try block, the first 3 lines of the code, it represents type value, type error and value error exceptions. That is, we have initialized x to 10 and variable y to high, and we are trying to add both of them. Adding an integer and a string causes type error and value error exception. Similarly, in the next 3 lines of the try block, a value is initialized to 10, b to 0. We are trying to print the value of a by b, which literally means 10 by 0. We cannot divide any number with 0 in mathematics. So arithmetic error exception will be raised. Then in the third statement, we are trying to print the value of x. In this particular program, since we have initialized the value of x already over here, we might get the value of x as output. But if at all I write the same statement as the first statement in try block without even initializing the value of x, if I try to display, then I am going to get the exception details like this. Name x is not defined. The exception class is called. That is, the fourth except block, whatever we have written, is executed. Then, as I have explained in earlier part of this video, the 2 statements which I have highlighted indicates the wrong index access of an array. That is, instead of accessing the given index positions, I am trying to access an index position beyond that. So it results in index error exception. Now, the one basic property of try and except blocks or exception handling mechanism in Python is whenever an exception is raised in the try block, the execution of the try block will stop there itself and the relevant except block is executed. And even though there are multiple except blocks we have written, but at a time only one particular except block is called. Like for suppose I have written print x as the last statement in the try block. In the first three statements of the try block, I am trying to add an integer and a string. Now, whenever I execute this program again, see it is showing type error and value error exceptions. So, even though the next statements are true or false in the try block, they might or might not raise an exception. Irrespective of that, whenever an exception is raised in try block, immediately the execution of the try block is stopped there itself and the relevant except block is called. Once again I am repeating, one try block can have multiple except blocks, but at a time only one except block will be executed in order to display the details of the exception that has occurred in the try block. Thank you.